This is the deadliest zombie virus I've ever encountered. Once exposed to this virus, any living creature is destined to perish, transforming into soulless walking corpses. The story begins at a secret military base where a doctor is conducting sick research on bringing the dead back to life. Injecting a corpse with a mysterious drug, the body starts twitching unexpectedly, but before Dr. Holder could be happy, the corpse underwent a strange transformation, spitting blood from its mouth, and its body began to decay, eventually mutating into a bloodthirsty zombie. Clearly, the experiment ends in failure. Dr. Holder realizes the virus has mutated. To prevent leakage, Dr. Holder had to contact the military to remove the virus. Unexpectedly, during the handover, a group of thugs disguised as research personnel suddenly ambushes them. A fierce firefight ensues, resulting in heavy casualties on both sides. The last surviving thug seizes the opportunity and steals the virus crate. As the base's reinforcements arrive, the desperate thug flees into the nearby woods. Dr. Holder knew that if this virus was leaked, the consequences would be unimaginable, so he sent a helicopter in pursuit. With the thug about to enter the woods, the soldiers have no choice but to open fire. The thug drops the virus crate in the process, but undeterred, he goes back to retrieve it, only to get his hand corroded by the leaked virus. The helicopter, losing sight of the target, leaves the scene. Injured, the thug hastily escapes. The thug is unaware of the severity of the situation and makes his way to a motel. Not long after, his body starts mutating. Faced with his rotting right hand, the thug decisively cuts it off, but the mutation continues. Soon a waiter came to the room to clean it up. She discovers the bedsheet covered in blood and, as she wonders in confusion, groans emanate from the bathroom. Worried that something had happened to the guest, the waiter walked in without hesitation. All she saw was creepy blood all over the bathroom, and before she could react, she was put on the spot by thoroughly mutated thug. News of the incident at the motel quickly alarms the military. To prevent the virus from spreading, everyone inside the motel is forcefully isolated, but when they found the culprit, they realized he was already dead. The military brought the body back to the base and couldn't wait to incinerate it. Holder is furious because the smoke from the incineration still carries the virus, which will only bring greater disaster. Regrettably, it is now too late. As the thick smoke drifts into the air, the first victims are the birds in the sky. Nearby, there is a bustling town. Completely unaware of the impending danger, a couple is driving down the road when they suddenly see a road covered with bird corpses. As they step out to investigate, a mutated bird attacks the man's face furiously. Patricia quickly takes Glenn away from the scene. Just minutes later, Glenn's face begins to pus. Seeing his suffering, Patricia stops the car on the roadside, intending to find some water for Glenn at a gas station. Unfortunately, the place has been abandoned for a while, and Patricia not only fails to find water but also encounters a zombie. The zombie lunges at her, but she manages to push it away. The zombie is furious and pulls out a knife from his belt and slashes at Patricia. Luckily, Patricia was able to dodge it in time, but the zombie was very persistent and chased her outside. When the zombie swung the knife again, Patricia dodged it. The zombie's knife cuts right through the petrol dispenser, and petrol gushes out from inside. Patricia quickly moves away and uses her lighter to ignite the gas. Escaping the gas station before the explosion, the base received news of infected individuals in the small town. To prevent further virus spread, the military high command immediately ordered the entire town to be quarantined and all living creatures inside to be exterminated. Dr. Holder strongly objected, as it meant thousands of humans would perish, but the officer was unimpressed, stating that if he wanted to save them, he should hurry up and work on the antidote. The town is quiet and peaceful at the moment, and the three soldiers are still flirting with the girl in the bus in front of them. Suddenly, a large group of zombie birds swarmed in, causing the bus driver to lose control and crash into the flock. The zombie birds stormed into the bus and attacked the people inside. One girl was brutally pecked, leaving her disfigured. With no hospital nearby, they had to take the injured Leah to a nearby hotel, which had already turned into a chaotic mess. Leah's wound was getting infected. Bo went to find a doctor while Carol accompanied him. Unfortunately, their car broke down shortly after leaving. Carol had to seek help in a nearby house, not knowing that everyone inside had already turned into zombies. As Carol headed upstairs, a zombie followed her. Instead of directly biting her, the zombie pushed her into the pool on the first floor. When Bo rushed over upon hearing the commotion, Carol was already dead. The water in the pool was contaminated as well. Bo had no choice but to leave. However, the noise attracted a large horde of zombies. Luckily, Bo is quick and manages to escape from it, and just happens to meet Patricia and Glenn on the way. They decided to team up. At the same time, heavily armed troops entered the infected areas for indiscriminate cleanup. Leah's condition was worsening. A couple went to the kitchen to find something to eat, only to have a mutated zombie head flying out of the fridge. The man was bitten on the neck, and the woman was also attacked. Nightfall came. Patricia and her group were still on their way to the hospital. Suddenly, Glenn, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, mutated and lunged towards Patricia. Luckily, Bo pulls the zombie away in time, and Patricia takes the opportunity to break and jump out of the car to escape. Bo was also thrown out of the car by the zombie, and before he could get up, the zombie jumped out of the car and attacked him again. Bo kicks him out of the way only to be slapped in the face by the zombie. Bo is dazed and confused, but soon Bo fights back against the zombie. After getting the upper hand, more zombies appear out of nowhere. Eventually, Bo was overwhelmed and submerged in the sea of zombies. Patricia was left with no choice but to flee. Unfortunately, there were zombies ahead and more closing in from behind. In desperation, she jumped into the river to escape. On the other side of the hotel, the two GIs were worried when they saw that Bo and Carol had been late in returning. Little did they know that Leah had already mutated. Nancy, who was sleeping, was almost attacked by Leah, but she heard a noise and managed to escape. Finally, the zombie jumps out of the window and falls to his death. Before the soldiers downstairs could react, they saw a figure coming out of the bus. It turned out to be Patricia, who had escaped death. Patricia hadn't seen anyone alive for a long time, so it was as if she had grabbed the straw that saved her life. However, she was followed by a large horde of zombies. They quickly fortified the hotel, but the zombies easily broke through their defenses. One of the men was knocked down on the spot, and the rest could only fight their way back to the second floor and retreat. To their surprise, these zombies could climb walls and even descend from the sky. With limited firepower, they had no choice but to jump from the second floor to the first. The few remaining survivors continued to escape until dawn, finally evading the relentless pursuit of the zombies. Eventually, they reached the shore and boarded a small wooden boat to leave the town. While the military is cleaning up the infected, they're working on an antidote. As soon as Holder can succeed, they'll stop the cleanup operation in the quarantine zone. Unfortunately, they had not made any progress yet. After rowing to the shore, the exhausted group rested on the spot. Suddenly, they noticed a chicken in their sight. Upon seeing the chicken, Joe's eyes lit up, and he immediately ran over, intending to catch it for breakfast. However, he failed to catch the chicken and ended up colliding with the military soldiers coming from the opposite direction. Following the principle of eliminating all living beings, the soldiers immediately shot and killed Joe. The remaining group quickly fled for their lives and arrived at a hospital. Patricia and Nancy heard agonizing screams from a ward. It turned out to be a pregnant woman about to give birth. Patricia and Nancy immediately split up and went in different directions. Patricia went to call her companions, while Nancy stayed to take care of the pregnant woman. Unexpectedly, a zombie appeared behind Nancy and attacked her, taking her life. Meanwhile, Patricia was ambushed by a zombie while searching for the soldiers. To her surprise, it was mutated Glenn. Patricia picks up the nearby wooden stick and hits the mutated Glenn. While the zombie Glenn is on the ground, Patricia decisively sends it away. The two soldiers arrived after hearing the noise and witnessed the tragic fate of Nancy. They hastily fled the hospital, only to find that the outside was already infested with zombies. At a critical moment, Roger found a barrel of gasoline in the car. He poured the gasoline on the ground and set it on fire, temporarily deterring the approaching zombie horde. However, as they were about to leave, they realized that zombies were also coming from behind. At the moment of crisis, Patricia sees a grenade under the car, so Kenny picked it up and threw it. The huge explosion instantly killed a large number of zombies. They quickly took advantage of the situation to escape, not realizing that a military helicopter was parked in an open space nearby. Kenny, who knew how to fly, immediately took Patricia on board. Roger, still wanting to kill more zombies. When the helicopter had taken off, Roger leapt forward and grabbed the helicopter's landing gear, but Roger never expected that there were several zombies hiding in the grass below. Roger was grabbed by the zombies and dragged down by his legs, and was eventually engulfed by the zombies. Kenny and Patricia could only fly the helicopter away. Little did they know that the virus had already spread to other cities.